Good evening, and welcome to the reflection from Salisbury Cathedral for Monday, the 15th of February. I'm Canon Nigel Davis, the Vicar of the Close, and having looked on the internet, I realise that at this time I'm speaking to you, Boris Johnson is speaking to the nation, so I wonder whether actually anybody will be watching me at all. Anyway, a question for you. Have you booked your holiday yet? Hard to know what to do. Mixed messages last week from the government has meant the certainty we were craving for doesn't seem to be there. I'm sure we could all do with a break for recovery from these last 12 months. But I'm wondering if a holiday is a priority, one of our inalienable rights, as it were, an entitlement. Are there not other things which are more important? For instance, and these are facts which we've learned and gleaned during the pandemic, and I trawled from the internet. The number of people homeless in this country is now standing at 280,000 people. Apparently, around 4.2 million children are living in poverty or were in 2020, a figure believed to have soared during our pandemic, and thousands of families have been pushed into hardship as a result of the pandemic through redundancy and income cuts after being placed on the furlough scheme. The situation is dire, even for many people who have jobs. 8 in 10 people claiming universal credit in November last year were in work or looking for work, and the pandemic has exacerbated the pre-existing barriers to work as a route out of poverty. 1.3 million children are relying on free school meals. The percentage of children known to be eligible for free school meals has been rising year on year since 2018. The percentage across all schools has increased from 13.6% to reach 17.3% in 2020. Household income is a key indicator of food insecurity. Studies have shown how devastating household food insecurity is for health, social well-being, and child development. Free school meals provide children with a vital access to food. Vital in the immediate sense means they're not hungry, and with longer term consequences, it means that they are not going to be susceptible to poor health outcomes. The UK has been reported as one of the worst performing nations in the EU for food insecurity, with 19% of children under 15 living with food insecurity. UK employment is likely to reach 2.6 million in the middle of 2021, according to government economic watchdog, the Office of Budget Responsibility. That is 7.5% of the working age population. Nurses' pay was capped for many years, so recent increases mean they have in effect been standing still in terms of pay received. Social care, like the NHS, struggles with a high vacancy rate and a rapid turnover of staff. Many existing and potential employees are finding that retail work, for example in supermarkets, can offer a better paid alternative to care work. Spending on publicly funded social care is in real terms £700 million less than it was in 2010-2011. Many of the people I have mentioned won't be going on holiday, can't afford to go on holiday. Then there's the disproportionate effect COVID has had in areas of deprivation. Poverty and health inequality are behind the high COVID death rates in South Wales. In a district in the Rhondda Valley, the rate is 340.3 deaths per 100,000 of the population, the highest figure in the UK. In the London borough of Hackney East, a volunteer at a soup kitchen tweeted recently, "We just fed 102 people. We've now fed more people in the last 10 months than in the previous 5 years of the soup kitchen. The generosity of the community continues to astound me, but I hope they're feeling generous for a while yet. If those who can afford it get the chance to go on holidays in the sun, flying to that holiday destination has an additional consequence. Air travel is often the dominant contributor to greenhouse gas. It is more critical than ever to find a way to shrink aviation's carbon footprint. Every bit of carbon dioxide we emit now will linger in the atmosphere and warm the planet for decades. Reducing the number of flights is one of the few surefire ways to curb emissions in the meantime. Trawling through these uncomfortable facts about the country is disheartening. I think you'll agree. Ultimately, we are free to ignore them. And in this post-truth world, choose other truths that suit us better. If we accept them, then they should have an influence on our priorities. In the midst of the pandemic, it was the NHS and other key workers, many poorly paid, who we were clapping on Thursdays and who we wanted to reward. If that is to become a reality, then those with a lot of disposable income will have to dispose of it differently through taxes, which might mean one less holiday. What about the other areas of national life that need increased spending? The country will have to pay back the loans we have taken up to help us through the pandemic. Should paying them back be left to our children and their children's children? Would it not be fairer for the adults whose decisions, actions, and priorities have over time negatively impacted our society not make a significant contribution? We can forget and put the uncomfortable facts from our minds, turn our backs on the problems in our society as we turn back to the habits and behaviours of pre-COVID days. Or we can reorder our priorities so that we can make a difference now to the lives of so many of our fellow men, women, young people, and children. End this reflection with two quotes, which perhaps in only a few words express what has taken me so many more to say. The first quote is from Albert Einstein. He said, "The world as we have created it is a process of our thinking. It cannot be changed without changing our thinking." And the second quote is from Martin Luther King Jr. "Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be. This is the interrelated structure of reality." Thanks for your time. I trust you'll have a good evening and a restful night. Bye bye.